Michael, and you're right, and every little bit of food that we buy, the price of coffee, our groceries, it all comes back to energy. Energy has been the biggest driver of price increases across the board. And when we talk about this plan, and I know you were one of the first people to stick your neck out on this, just give us an idea very quickly about the challenges in your own electorate when it comes to the number of wind farms that are underway with more. We're talking hundreds. I mean, if you still back net zero, I don't think you'd be able to walk down the street.
Well, you're right, James, and you've been out to Yass Valley where the mayor there, Jasmine Jones, describes what's happening there as it's going to turn the pristine, beautiful farmland area into an industrial junkyard. They're proposing to build 90 260-metre tall wind towers just in the Yass Valley between Bynalong and Bounding itself. And then, of course, we've got Upper Lachlan Shire with Crookwell, where they already house 60% of the state's green energy projects, and yet they have the lights getting turned out on them over and over again. On the second State of Origin rugby league night this year, the whole town was pitched into darkness. They couldn't watch the rugby league, but never mind that. Their aged care centre plunged into darkness. Their hospital plunged into darkness. I mean, this is not how Australia should be in 2025. And Crookwell, there's a proponent there wanting to build wind towers and not even connect them to the grid, just to take the subsidies available. Now, James, this is a complete crock. The people in regional Australia know it, and now, hopefully, we're going to see some traction on it because the coalition has rightly rejected this net zero complete fantasy.
Michael, can I just ask you, is it going to be harder for the coalition federally to argue its new position when at a state level in New South Wales, my understanding is the Liberal Party will continue to back net zero after a meeting this week? People are going to be wondering if you're not on the same page on that. Well,
those City Libs should actually get out to regional New South Wales. They should leave Macquarie Street, leave their ivory towers, leave Sydney CBD and get out and talk to a few locals. They should know that costs are going up through every part of the supply chain, through food, through petrol bowsers. Everywhere people are paying more. Now, if they want to just turn a blind eye to that, well, that says more about them than I think it says about anything. But I tell you what, Mark Speakman and his cohort need to take a really good, long, hard look at not only the proposal that the federal Liberals have put forward, but indeed their polling.
Yeah, look, absolutely, you're right. Go out in the regions and see what the net zero debacle is like out there. I want to ask you about the Paris Agreement. How is this going to work? You're going to stay in Paris but dropping net zero. Is that not counterintuitive, Michael? I mean, what's the point of staying in Paris if you've dumped it? The whole point of Paris is targets and working to achieve those targets. It just sounds very political.
Well, and you said at the top of the show that young people are wedded to this, and of course you have to give. You have to put in your nationally determined contributions. But Australia, since indeed 2005, under coalition governments, we've reduced our emissions by 28%. And what have OECD countries, many of them very, very rich countries, they've reduced it by only 14%. So what's the point in leading the pack? I mean, you know, we've got a situation here where we do need to reduce emissions. I appreciate that. We need to do what's right for the planet. But, you know, when Australia's only responsible for 1.1% of emissions globally, then, you know, do we do that and deindustrialise Australia? Do we send jobs overseas? Do we absolutely make sure that we cripple households, businesses? We've already seen something like 30,000 small businesses go to the wall. How many more can sustain the energy costs that they're being affronted with each and every quarter, thanks to the Albanese government? As I say, there is a cheaper, better, fairer way. We've determined that today, and people should get on board.
But then, so, I mean, do you think it's wrong then to stay in Paris?
Well, I think what we need to do is play our global part. But at the end of the day, there's so many countries which already haven't put in their NDCs, their nationally determined contributions. Now, Australia, we always do the right thing, but as I said, we've lowered our emissions. We've got the highest take-up of rooftop solar, and that came under a coalition government. We're meeting all our international obligations. It would be nice to continue to do the right and responsible thing, and we will, even under a coalition government. But we're not going to do it at the expense of impoverishing pensioners. We're not going to do it at the expense of small business and deindustrialising Australia and sending all our factories broke. There's a sensible way. We've made sure that we're going to do that while still honouring our international obligations.
Michael, just quickly before we go, I think people find it very refreshing when politicians put their hand up and say they got things wrong. Obviously, the coalition were the first to back net zero, and you weren't the leader then, but you were part of the Morrison government that did that. 4 or 5 years later, that was the wrong call, wasn't it?
Well, the world has changed. And if you look back in late 2021, China was not accepting many of our agricultural and other exports, so what we were sending to China, and we were looking to diversify our markets. Now, all of the European trade that we were trying to then sign up to, and we ultimately did, was based contingent on having a net zero clause in those obligations. And so for trade, for our farmers, for our resource industries, the fact that net zero needed to be going down that path, then I could see why we were doing it. And I did want to carve out for agriculture, but now the world has moved on. We've seen what's happening in the US, one of our other great, of course, national security allies, but also a trade ally. We've seen what's happening in the UK at the moment, and also many other European countries. And when China and India aren't signing up to any of these UN-sanctioned obligations, then it just makes it craziness for Australia to be impoverishing our citizens to do what? To lower the global temperature in 25 years' time? I mean, come on, really?
Michael McCormack, thanks for your time.